And the Australian Greens leader, Senator Christine Milne, is holding a media conference in Melbourne today to discuss proposals to widen the GST by taxing food, health and education. We'll take you there right now.
GST to health, to education and to food. This is a really backward step. Why would you want to be applying a regressive tax to the things that are most important to keeping our society healthy? This morning I've been out to Second Bite, looking at an organisation that is collecting up food in order to distribute it to people who need it. These are people who are struggling to put food on the table right now, fresh fruit and vegetables. I reject absolutely the idea that we should be increasing the GST on education, health and food. One of the problems with the Grattan report is that it doesn't identify what the World Economic Forum has identified, and that is we need to completely sever the link between growth and resource use, particularly non-renewable resources, and also start charging for waste. That is why the Greens say that what we need to be doing is imposing the super profits tax. The move we've made with the clean energy package to reduce the income tax that people pay whilst at the same time charging for pollution is exactly the way we need to be moving. The game changer that the Grattan Institute didn't identify is the need to invest in the Gonski review. We've just had a major report showing that Australian education is falling behind. A report which shockingly shows that the top 20% of students in Year 9 are 5.5 years of education ahead of the bottom 20% in Year 9. If ever we needed an investment in education, it's right now, and that is the game changer for Australia in terms of lifting community well-being and productivity as a nation. That's where we need to be going. The Greens also reject the idea of extending the pension age. We objected and opposed the extension of the pension age when it was done previously, and we continue to believe that that is not the right way to go. Incentives for greater participation in the workforce are a good idea, and that goes for women in the workforce and older people as well. But going to this negative, if you like, or big stick is not an appropriate way to involve people and to achieve higher rates of participation. So I don't know if you want to ask me about Grattan, because I wanted to also just go on to a couple of other things. Okay. Tony Abbott is reported today saying that he is personally offended by clearfelling in native forests. Well, Tony, where have you been throughout your entire political career? Tony, you stood behind John Howard, right beside him in fact, and we've watched thousands of hectares of Australian native forest be clear-felled right around the country while you have been in the Parliament. And it's going on in Tasmania today. It's going on in Victoria today. It's not enough to say you don't like it. What people want to hear from you, Mr Abbott, is what you are going to do to stop it. In Tasmania right now, you could be standing up supporting the intergovernmental agreement protection of 572,000 hectares of native forests in Tasmania. There's my challenge, Mr Abbott. Go down, tell Will Hodgman that he's totally got it wrong, that native forest logging has to stop, and that we need to be processing plantations that are already in the ground, but stop trying to pretend you're a great conservationist. Tony Abbott, where are you on the Great Barrier Reef and the massive port expansion for Queensland? Where are you on all that spoil being dumped out of Gladstone Harbour into the reef? Where are you in looking at a comprehensive network of marine parks around the country, for example? Nowhere to be seen, but instead standing up at rallies opposing such great moves in terms of conservation. It's time that Tony Abbott actually wrote it down. It seems that unless he writes it down, you can't actually believe it as a statement of intent. So let's have it, Mr Abbott, let's have a written statement saying that you now oppose the logging of native forests in Australia and that you will end any clear felling that is still going on in any native forest around Australia. Well, I think the AFP certainly has got a lot of questions to answer, and I think this whole case really, when you put the common sense test across it, you have to ask, as an Australian citizen, how is it that someone about whom such serious allegations were raised in the media earlier this week can just leave the country? I think the AFP does need to answer these questions, and it is certainly something that the Greens will be following up in the Parliament.
That was Christine Milne speaking in Melbourne about the Grattan Institute report on the economy and other issues challenging Tony Abbott's stance on conservation.